Okay, good morning. Let's get started with today's Infowise Ultimate Forms webinar. The webinar today will be improving follow-up and completion rates using dashboard indicators and alerts. And I will be your host today. My name is Phil Gold, and I'm a longtime communications and training professional. Most recently, I spent 15 years at Nike as their global training manager for Nike technology. And as part of that job, I spent a lot of time using SharePoint, training SharePoint, managing SharePoint sites. And one of the great tools that I had available to me was Infowise Ultimate Forms. I've been using Infowise Ultimate Forms for, 5 or 6 years, and I have always been extremely impressed with the functionality and the ease of use of the tool. It's been a real lifesaver for me. Um, since I've left Nike, I have been writing courses and presenting courses for LinkedIn. And in fact, one of those courses was a course on using Infowise with SharePoint. I've been working directly with the Infowise team for the past few months, and it's been great experience. I'm really enjoying myself with this. So what we're going to do today, let me give you some ground rules first. If you have questions, please use chat to do that. We have other team members from Infowise who are standing by. They're watching the chat windows. They're watching the question window. Um, if you have anything that you need to know, post it in there and someone will answer you. Um, there will be a Q&A at the end, perhaps time allowing. We may not have any questions to answer at that point, but we'll see. Uh, there will be a recording of this presentation. We're recording it right now, and sometime later today, this will be available on YouTube. So you'll be able to watch later if there's anything you miss or anything you wanted to see again. And there will be a free giveaway at the end of the presentation. We will be handing out an Infowise polo shirt. And I do have to apologize because we can only ship that within the US. But for you people in the States, we're going to have a giveaway for you. So now, what are we going to be doing in today's session? Well, I'm going to be presenting you with a solution to a set of problems that we had here. And my mythical problem is I've got an editorial workflow issue. I've got a board or a group of people who need to be publishing things online on a very steady cadence, and we need to be able to meet our SLAs a little bit better than we've been doing. So I want to set up a workflow that is going to something that is going to help me with my workflow, that I can use the item creation date and our standard SLAs to determine the task timeline, so that I can add indicators to a dashboard so it will be easy for people to understand and see where they are in tasks, and be able to create some customized and personalized dashboards so that the team members will have a better idea of what their responsibilities are. And finally, that I can use alerts to send notifications out to people, giving them a heads up of when tasks are due. So with all of that, let's start taking a look at what we've got going. I'm going to jump out of here for a moment. Now, pardon me for a sec. Get out of here. All right, so here is my editorial workflow SharePoint site, which I have built. This is what we're going to be demonstrating here. So you can see I've got my current article status, and this is the articles that are due still. No completed articles are showing here, only stuff that's in progress. And I've got a few things going on this page, which I want to point out to you. First thing is we've got a countdown showing how many days there are until the task or how many days there are until the task is done. I'm sorry, we've got a countdown here showing how many days until the task is done. And then over here, we've got a countdown of days elapsed. And here we have, the date it was created, we have what it is, and has it been assigned yet, yes or no? And you'll see that the no items are highlighted, because if something hasn't been assigned yet, we need to point attention to that so that it will get assigned. Things have been assigned to people in this column. The status is in progress or not started, completed, you won't see here. Here's the due date showing right there. There was a field left for comments, but there are no comments on any of these things right now. Now, in addition to this, what I've also set up is a form when there is a new item that needs to be done. And I should mention that this color value here, the yellow, this deadline here, and these task days here, these are all Ultimate Forms tools that have been placed in here. So this is all enhancements using Ultimate Forms. Now the new form, once again, I used Infowise Ultimate Forms for this. This is the entry form rather than a stock SharePoint entry form that just drags down the page. I have this divided up by tabs. Here's the request description. You'll notice that the received date isn't there. That fills in automatically, so there's no reason to show it on the form. Assigned, yes or no, and who it's assigned to, and the status. My intention when I was setting this form up was to make it as simple as possible so that the person doing the input had the least amount of work to do. We don't want to have them spending time filling out a bunch of unnecessary fields. So I've hidden fields that don't need to be shown. I've hidden fields that people don't have the sufficient permissions to see. All we have here is what's exactly pertinent. And I'll show you what I did with that in just a little bit. Now we also have a late items page. And this was pretty straightforward. This is just the items that are late, the late assignments and the late articles. And this is just a couple of very simple SharePoint lists with filters for what I want. But I still used the color highlight for not assigned, and I still used the day countdown. So we've got both of those things in there. Now, I also created a couple of extra pages. One thing that I did was I made a quick edit page, and I put in a different view of the list in just the spreadsheet view. Now, this is normal SharePoint functionality rather than Infowise, but I still am carrying Infowise information over into this list. And then the last thing that I created here was a My Assignments page. And this will be customized so that each individual going to this page will only see the items that are assigned to them. Using just the Me functionality and the filter in SharePoint, very easy to do. But I did add a chart down here, and this is an Infowise chart, and it shows the amount complete, the amount not started, the amount in progress. So I figured that was good information to add onto the page for the individual so that they can see their status right away. So how did I do these things? Let's go in and take a quick look at how this stuff has been set up. I'm at the main list now, and let's look first at how we set up the date there, because that is a color function. We just need to go down here. Color choice. So what I've done for the assigned thing, as you can see, very, very simple. That choice is just a yes or no choice. If the answer is no, then it's going to highlight the column as this color right there. And I can apply it to the background. I could apply it to the whole row if I wanted as well. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll go back and take a quick look, and you can see how that changes things. Let's refresh the page. And every once in a while, it doesn't work exactly the way that we wanted it to. Okay, successfully completed. And let's refresh this now. Well, and this is always the problem with doing demos. Oh, there we are. It's live there. Okay, so this did do what I was expecting it to do. Thank you. Let's take a look next at the new form, because I think that's interesting as well. We once again need to go back to here, and we'll close this. And let's look at what we had for tabs and tab setups, tabs and tab permissions. And you can see that I've set up 3 separate tabs. And when you click into the tabs, you can see exactly what the fields have been associated with that tab. So for the assigned tab, we've got these 2 things. For the status tab, we've got those 2 things. This is so easy to set up, and it's really wonderful the way that you can take a very boring and sort of annoying to work with SharePoint stock input form and change it into something that looks pretty nice. I think you'd all agree that this here is a lot easier to work with than something that drags on down the page. Now, let's take a look at the late item page. Oh, I need to go back here. Actually, let's take a look at the indicators. I'm going to go back to the home page for a moment, and we'll take a look at these things. You can see we've got 2 different kinds of indicators here. We've got a deadline, countdown days, and then we've got a progress bar. So how were these things, how would I put this stuff together? Infowise Ultimate Forms has got this indicator functionality, and you can put in not just progress bars or countdowns, but you can put in KPI information as well. What I did on my deadline is I created a countdown, and it was created from the goal value. The goal value is the created date plus 10. My SLA is I must have things complete in 10 days. And we want it counted down by days, and we want it counted down, and it's going to be this blue color. Very, very straightforward, very easy. The task days, progress bar, it's pulling from the value today with a start date of created and a goal date of due date. And once again, it's just counting straight on up. Very, very simple to do, very easy to set up. One of the things that I wanted particularly in this list was to be able to provide notifications to people that tasks were being assigned to them, that tasks were getting close to being due, that tasks were late. And you can see that well, this one doesn't apply here, but you can see that I've got 3 different alerts set up here. Now, if you've used alerts in SharePoint, you know that they're a little bit limiting. There's only so much you can do with them. There's only so many variables. I have to tell you, alerts are one of the first things that drew me to Infowise because I was so amazed with how functional they were. Let's just take this new assignments alert as an example. And I'll go in to edit so that you can see how I've created this one. So it's called new assignments, and the recipient is who it is assigned to. You have the ability to pull users direct from Active Directory. You can pull users from a column, which is what I did. I pulled from the assigned to column. I can use people in a contact list, or I can type in email addresses if I want. Any of those variables are allowed to me. And I have a CC line and I have a BCC line, none of which you get with stock SharePoint alerts. I also can specify who this is coming from. I can specify who they reply to, and I can exclude people. If I was using an Active Directory security group, or if I was using a SharePoint group and I didn't want it to go to a specific person, I could exclude them by adding them to the never send to list. When to send? When the item is added, when the item is modified. So I want to know if I get assigned a new thing, or I want to know if somebody has changed it to assign it to me. Both of those are in there. And the condition is the status is not complete and the status is not escalated. So if it's just started or in progress, I want to get that alert. When do I want to get it? I want to get it every day. Anytime that it comes out during a week, I want to get that. I want it coming out to me at 8 a.m. in the morning. So that would be for information from the day before. And I want to get it as a separate email, although I could combine these. If I expect to be getting a lot of them, I could get it in summary mode. And actually, in this situation, if this editorial board had a lot of tasks, we'd probably send them out a summary. Now, the most exciting thing, as far as I'm concerned, is the mail templates. You can create very, very specific and targeted templates for all of the different variables that you are dealing with. So on this one, because this is an alert telling somebody that it is a new assignment, I went in and created a new assignment template. And let me show you just briefly what this is. So here's the information here. You've been assigned an article, you've been assigned an article. The description of the article is pulling from the list itself. So it's pulling list information and putting it into the email that's going out. Therefore, the person who gets it is going to be getting some very, very specific information about what they're receiving. View this and your other assigned tasks. I put a link in so that they can go directly to their page and see all of their assigned tasks. And what does this look like when it comes out? Well, I just happen to have one right here. I've been assigned a new article, and the article is color palette, and I can view that and all of my other lists right there. So this came out a few days ago, and it's been completed since then, but needless to say. So this, I can't tell you how much I like this functionality. This is so easy to use, and it provides so much better information than the old version of SharePoint alerts. It's night and day. There's no comparison between them. The deadline approaching, the late article works just the same. Now, one thing that I didn't do, which I could have done, if I had used a Active Directory, well, if I had used in my SharePoint list a person or group list and selected the manager's name, I could copy the manager on this email, especially the ones where it's late. It might be nice for the manager to know that. So that's just something else, a refinement that I didn't do here, but a refinement that is very, very simple to do. Let's take a quick look at charts also. Now the charts, actually, this is a little bit tricky the way that you have to do it, because you insert a chart web part This is a Infowise Ultimate Forms web part for a chart. You insert the chart and then you go back and actually build the chart. But the chart itself is really simple to do. Here's my pie chart, which I've got, and you can see not started, in progress, escalated, complete. We're doing it by assigned. We're doing a count. There are a million different types of charts here. If I wanted to do this as an error bar, a donut, a column, a candlestick, there's just a ton of different options here. I'm using a pie because it worked the best, and I'm showing my legends, I'm showing my values. You can see there's a lot of places where I have the ability to go in and customize the color. I can set the border. So you can do some really, really nice looking stuff. If you've ever tried to put charts and graphs into SharePoint, you can use things like Power Pivot, but the problems of tying Power Pivot to SharePoint lists as a data source, it's a little bit difficult. Even with Power BI, extracting the information and re-importing the information, much more work than just doing it directly in here. The Infowise charting tool provides some great functionality that otherwise is not readily available. So that's a quick walkthrough of what we've done here. I want to go back to my presentation here for a moment, and let's talk about what some next steps are. Next step number one, I highly encourage everybody who is listening today to download the free trial. And actually, I'm going to get out of the presentation and go back into here so I can show you exactly where you want to go. There we are. This is the Infowise Ultimate Forms, Infowise Solutions homepage. And there is download the 30-day trial right there. Extremely easy to do. Click there and you can select your platform if you're on-premise or Office 365. Just to mention, I use Office 365, SharePoint Online. It's beautiful. I hope never to be on-premise again. But to be very simple here again, you can download the trial. You can also request a demo if you want to see a little bit more detail. We can give you an hour walkthrough, show you what we've got going. That'll give you some opportunity to see the tools in a little bit more detail. Let's go here, and we'll go back here. Now, if you purchase Infowise, you have unlimited support by email. So plenty of help provided to you with getting your work done, getting through things, making stuff happen. We also have a 2-hour Kickstart training, which is included with the license. So you'll get a dedicated 2-hour workshop with someone from the Infowise training group. We'll be online. We won't be at your premise, but we will work you through the basics of using the Infowise Ultimate Forms tool. And we also have more in-depth training available. We have a Ultimate Forms Foundations class. We also have more advanced training available. We also have a 1-day intensive workshop. There are options available to you. There's also an amazing amount of information that is available. And once again, I'm going to jump back to the Infowise site just to show you this. If we were to click training, tutorials, there is a huge amount of articles that have been written, There are videos in here as well. You're seeing an administrator view, so yours won't look exactly like that, but you can get an idea of how many different articles we have. And even when we were in the tool itself, if you're in one of the tools inside Ultimate Forms, you will see that there is context relevant tutorials and documentation that is showing on the page. If I get out of here and go into actions, you will see that this changes once again. So here are action relevant tutorials for you right there. I didn't do actions today, and that's another thing that if you've been struggling with SharePoint workflows, you will struggle no longer. Infowise actions are amazingly easy to use. So let's see, what do we have next? Download the trial, unlimited support, 2-hour kickstart, lots and lots of more training available to you. Product demo I showed you on the website. That was right next to the download the trial. Request that, and someone will contact you and set that up. You can also contact me, or you can contact the sales at Infowise Solutions. And join us, please, for next month's webinar. And we also do periodic Build It sessions. I'll actually be doing a Build It session next month, where I will be recreating all of the things that I did here. I'll start from scratch and I'll build out all of the functionality that I showed you today, walk through all of the steps so you can see just how easy it is to do all of this stuff. So, with that being said, it's time for a giveaway. What I'm going to ask you to do, please, is pick a number between 1 and 100 and enter it into the questions box. I have a number in my head. The first person who hits that number is going to be the winner. And I'm watching. Only seen a couple of people so far. Yes, just one entry, please. If it's not guessed exactly, whoever gets it will, whoever gets closest will be getting it. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you 15 more seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, wait a minute. I think I saw my number there. Greg, I can't see your last name. Greg Hamilton. Greg Hamilton is our lucky winner. Greg, what I'd like you to do, if you wouldn't mind, actually, a quick question for my cohorts in Infowise. Do we have Greg's email address that we know to send it to him?
Just have him email you his address and shirt size. Just give him your email right now.
All right, thank you. Greg, if you would do me a favor and email me your shirt size and your physical address. Just use this philg@infowisesolutions.com, and we'll make sure that happens. Okay, everybody. I am really kind of done with my presentation for you, but If you have any other questions, just go ahead and put them into the question section, and people are still standing by to answer questions for you. But thank you very much for your time, and I perhaps will be seeing you in another one of these sessions soon.